Sister Mary Bader, welcome to Win TV. Are you there? Hi there. How are
I-
you?
I'm well, Denise. Thank you for having me on your show.
No, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. I just want to share with our viewers that Hamil Harris actually did a story on, um, the program this week at the center, and we hope that people will go to the Washington Informer to read that story. And I want to congratulate you on your accomplishments. 160 years. You haven't been there that long,
No,
but
have no.
I'm going to say if you do, I want to know what pill you're taking because you look great. But yeah, tell us a little bit, if you don't mind, a little background about the center.
Well, St. Anne's was, as you just said, founded 160 years ago by three Daughters of Charity, which is my religious community. And we were founded just as the rumblings of the Civil War were starting. And our primary focus at the time was taking care of infants and very young children who had been displaced, sometimes orphaned by um, the beginning of the Civil War, as well as young women who were in crisis, who were pregnant and had nowhere else to go. And since that time, we have continued that kind of service. Of course, as times go moves forward, the way that we deliver the services has changed to meet, as it always has been part of our mission, to meet the needs of women and children in the community. So today, our mission is to provide supportive transitional housing for mothers and children who are experiencing homelessness. The housing piece is, of course, very important, but equally important are the support services that we provide for the families, most of which are provided on site and would include an early Head Start child care center for the residents' younger children, as well as education and employment programming for the young women who are coming to us sometimes without an education or an unfinished education and are in need of bringing or earning a high school degree. Other times they're finishing or completing a bachelor's degree at one of the local universities or community colleges. And we work with each family wherever they come or however they come to us. And each family has their own set of challenges, but more importantly, they all have a set of strengths, and we build upon the strengths in a trauma informed environment where we can provide as many of the supports that they need to launch themselves into independent housing of their own, as well as independency and self sufficiency.
That's a great, I think, overall sort of picture of what you all do, and I think that's fantastic. I am concerned, though, when we think about mothers and children in crises these days. I mean, they're pretty hidden. We don't see them, and so we don't really understand the state of the crises, and particularly as it may have been exacerbated by this pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And 160 years is a long time, but a problem that has not gone away. And in your time there, Sister Mary, what have you seen? Is the problem leveling off? Is it getting worse? Has there been, an improvement? Just tell us what's going on out there.
Well, I think that the biggest challenge is the housing, particularly in this region of the country where housing is essentially unaffordable. And anything that might be affordable is still with it not within the range of young women who might or might not have completed their high school education and who are challenged not only with housing but with childcare. And I think the pandemic has brought to light something that many of us have been concerned about for years, and that is the cost of childcare. And so when you have several factors, the housing, the childcare, the education, all coming together as being problematic, basically because of equity issues or the lack of equity. And that just creates a tougher situation for people today, especially for young women, and who are parenting or not parenting. So that's why we try and address as many of those challenges as we can, here at St. Anne's, but then also using means in the community as well.
So I'm sure that's why you all are having your fundraiser, which now this year has to be a virtual event. It helps to pay the cost of the needs of those families. And on average, about how many families do you serve? Let's say
We,
over a period of time, and what's that period of time?
over a period of a year, we serve about 26 to 30 families. And they come and they go, or they transition from our program. And in fact, in preparing for this show and for other things, we looked at the number of families that have transitioned from St. Anne's into their own permanent safe housing since March of 2020, and we've had 10 families. 10 families in a pandemic, which is remarkable and is a speaks volumes as to the kind of work that the families have done to bring themselves to that point. So that we do work intensely. Our average length of stay is well over a year, almost a year and a half for families, but it can be as much as 4 years as they move within our programs.
It's been noted that you've had, I mean, when we think about great leaders in our country, past and present, and we don't really know the stories behind those individuals who may have come through, let's say, drug abuse, or maybe they were foster children, or they've been children who just needed services like what St. Anne's provides. And you have one of those individuals, I think, who you might want to share with us, who would have known. Can you talk about him?
We have one person who's very involved in our gala that we're holding next week, who has been a very good friend of St. Anne's and who we've known for a little more than 60 years, because he was here as a baby awaiting adoption. And that was back in the late 50s, I think, maybe early 60s, when we were doing adoptions, when we're handling adoptions. And that person is Michael Steele, who was the Lieutenant Governor of Maryland and is now a commentator on several of the national news shows, and has just been a very, very good friend to St. Anne's and to a lot of other organizations that are doing similar work, helping make life better for a lot of people. And he's just been tremendous gift to St. Anne's, and we're very proud to be associated with somebody so wonderful.
Yeah, that's a great story to tell. He was also a past chair of the Republican National Committee.
Yes. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. I forgot to mention.
Yeah, I had to say that because folks
Yeah.
try to act like he wasn't there, but he was leading that organization, and has been a strong critic as well. But let's talk about the fundraiser, the gala. When is that going to take place, and how can people get involved? How can they donate?
It is going to take place next Thursday, the 13th, and it will be on a YouTube channel. And we are starting at 6. It'll go till 7. We also have the ability for people to tune in later to watch it, because it is all pretty much recorded. And we have some wonderful guests that are going to join us. We'll hear from one of our residents, our current residents, and her son. And we'll have Michael Steele there emceeing, as he's done in the past. We also have 2 young men who I like to call our youngest philanthropists, who are now teenagers, but who started probably when they were in their maybe 8 or 9 years of age, supporting St. Anne's. One of them is Miguel Coppage, who is also an alum. We like to call him an alum of St. Anne's. And the other is Jake Gardner, who is just been a very good friend to St. Anne's as well. And we are honoring them with the Michelle Heidenberger Volunteer Award for their many gestures and efforts at fundraising for St. Anne's, and just for their remarkable presence at St. Anne's, and just because they're wonderful human beings who care about other people and want to give back and have been very good to us. And we are also honoring my religious community, the Daughters of Charity. And we have some wonderful entertainment that's being provided by Terrence Cunningham, who was of or is of The Voice fame, and a local group who you might have heard of, the String Queens, who are Washington teachers in the district, who also have a wonderful ability to play classical music and adapt it to all genres of music. So we're happy to have them, as well as Jason Reynolds, an author who's going to be presenting some of our awards, and special guest Tommy McFly, who will be working with us. And I must also say we have Cardinal Gregory, who is going to start us off that evening.
That sounds like a fantastic program, Sister Mary. Thank you so much for sharing it with us. And yeah, you have a what I would call an all-star lineup. So I'm hoping people will actually go on. Shevry, do we have the information on how they can actually, tune in, since it's virtual, how they can donate, all of that? We really would love this to be. So we've put it down on the screen, the website, as well as your social media handles there. So we hope that folks will actually respond and support St. Anne's because of the great work that you all are doing. And I want to thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Denise. And thank you for all you do for our community.
Oh, dang. We got to keep working, right? When there's a need, we have to answer. And I'm glad you all are there to do that. So have a great one.
Thank you.
Okie doke.